Death is something that is not often talked about in our culture. It's something that people don't want to think about. It's pushed aside. And in fact, there's all these types of inventions, man-made inventions to make people feel better. Oh, when you die, you go to a magical place where there's no pain, there's no suffering, everything's unicorns, cotton candy, and fairies. And that's the degree which we resist death. And I don't remember the person's name, but someone wrote on in one of my comments on the video that they've embraced death and everything else really becomes irrelevant. And I couldn't agree more. One of the uh, practices of Buddhist monks, they would sleep. I don't know if this is all Buddhist monks, but this particular group of Buddhist monks, they would sleep in cemeteries just to uh, desensitize themselves to the fear of death. And there is something really. I've met a few people that have had a total surrender to death. And Eckhart Tolle even talks about it in his books about you see this glow or this openness or this surrender or this peace in people's eyes as they lay on their deathbed. And they've just surrendered. That everything becomes real now, present moment, and clear and simple and fearless and accepting. It's just a complete letting go. And our inability to embrace death really creates so much inner turmoil and suffering because we're always at odds or resisting or fighting life. Because we don't want to die. No, I don't want to die. I can't die. I'm so attached to life that I'm willing to do this, this, and this, and my biological instincts fight for survival, and um, I need to get more money, get more food. I need to control my life circumstances, control other people, go, 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 do. And then we have all these fears compounding the problem. But the person who has embraced death and says, you know what, I'm not attached to this life. I'm at peace and I'm appreciative for the miracle that I was even born and the blessing of the life that I've had. I'm thankful for that. And when it's my time to die, it's my time to die. And I don't need to fight or resist. And that's like, if you were to take everyone's fears, that would be probably the pinnacle, maybe fear of public speaking, but that would be at the pinnacle of the pyramid. Then when you're at the top and you've embraced death, everything else loses its edge. Yeah, you still might get stressed, you still might worry, but it doesn't have this consuming factor that it once did, because what's the worst thing that can happen to me is death for most people. So embracing it is like cutting the chains. It's just wow. Everything else becomes okay. I don't need to resist and fight and struggle. Now, how do we get to that point where we're able to embrace death? I think the one of the first places is start embracing your other fears. And one of the causes of fears is the unknown. And that's why death is so scary, because nobody knows about it. Nobody's, yes, I suppose some people say people have come back from the dead, but really, we have no conclusive evidence of what death is like. And, probably we likely just turn to dust. And when we can accept that, and when we can I think it helps to visualize that and realize that everything everything will be okay because you're not going to be conscious anymore. You'll have no consciousness, and there's no need to be fearful, to be worried, to be stressed, because you are here. And we're like flashes of light, like a comet. We're here, we shine, then our comet eventually burns out, like everything in this world. So I don't know if sleeping in cemeteries is the answer, but one of the things is to write about it, to people that are open to it, speak about it, to think about it, to, when we're in times of stress or struggle, to realize that, death is not the worst thing that can happen. Now, I'm not speaking of suicide. That is not what I'm talking about. That is the worst thing that can happen. That is the coward's way. The courageous way is to fix your life and to take control and empower yourself. And so, keeping, death should be like a roaring lion chasing us along our path. It Part of the problem why we procrastinate so much of what we want to do, or dreams or goals or aspirations, is because we think we're going to live forever. We're under the false illusion we think life goes on forever. And when we let go of that illusion and realize that death can come at any day, at any moment, and we can be okay with that, life takes a new meaning. The sunrise has a different twinkle. Your morning tea has a really bittersweet sweetness to it. The conversations that you have with your loved ones take a deeper importance in your life. And that's because death is always keeping it always at the foreground, and realizing that its eventuality, and that it can snatch us up at any time, is not something we should run from. It's something we should embrace and run towards. When we can do that, it's like the ripple effect. It starts filtering in and touching so many other areas of our life, and those that we care about.